Yo, what up, KRS-One? You checking out One Love TV. Keep it locked.
What's up, y'all? So, some of the events that are about to present themselves are a second year anniversary on June 21st, 2023 of an event that happened June 21st, 2021. 2021. During the pandemic. And the story is about John Hurley, who is a legal concealed weapons carrier, and he basically came out of an army surplus store when he realized there was a mass shooter in town of Arvada, and he went out, pulled his piece, and he confronted the shooter, and he eventually took him down. In the process of unloading the weapon, the local police showed up, thought he was a shooter, and they ended up shooting him. They since recognized that, and they've called him a hero ever since that time, and he's been honored. The governor was supposedly at his burial, but the fact is, police didn't know how the process to identify a person, and they shot an innocent man who was a hero. His name is John Hurley. And so today in this video, you'll see the process of people celebrating him. So enjoy.
This story uncovers new video from a shooting in Old Town Arvada, June 21st. You won't see anyone being shot, but you will see what really happened that day. Just after 1:30 in the afternoon, cameras captured Arvada officer Gordon Beasley walking in an alley toward Old Town Square. At the same time, Ronald Troik pulls up in his pickup truck. He parks, then gets out with an AR-15 following Beasley. At 1:35, Troik shoots and kills Officer Beasley. As the shots rang out, a Good Samaritan, Johnny Hurley, was at the Army surplus store across the street. You can see him run toward Old Town Square pulling out his handgun. He then barricades himself behind a brick wall following Troik's movements. At 1:36, Hurley fires twice, killing Troik. Hurley walks towards Troik's body. Officers say that's when he grabbed Troik's AR-15, making them assume Hurley is the suspect. At 1:37, Arvada officer Craig Brownlow fired at Hurley from a nearby building. You can't see him, but Hurley is behind this tree, on the ground, still breathing and moving.
Guy in the red, don't move. You don't move. Don't move.
The Jeffco deputy making commands then grabs the AR-15 from Hurley.
The dude that was alive, I grabbed his AR and secured it in back of Sperry's car.
And he was a suspect?
Yes.
Okay.
Both of those guys were suspects.
It's apparent in the videos that these officers had no idea who the suspects or the victims were in this case, and if there were more shooters. A chaotic scene that we're now watching unfold months later. I'm Darius Johnson, 9 News.
Jefferson County DA Alexis King said Hurley acted like a hero and will be remembered for his selflessness.
Thank you. Can we make the biggest round of applause and noise we can for Johnny Hurley? I can't hear you, I can't hear you. Just because my favorite number is 3 and Johnny's still with us. One more time! It's important we live the truth, we honor the truth, we're courageous with the truth, we're brave with the truth, we're respectful with the truth, we're humble with the truth, so that we can live wise. And if we live wise without judgment, we live love. And I believe on this day, June 21st, 2021, Johnny Hurley, make love. Should we do it? Johnny was a good man, a real stand-up guy. Johnny was a good man. I said I knew him pretty well. Johnny was a good man. Definitely not going to hell. Said everybody who knew him. Johnny was a good man. About truth and freedom. Oh, you wanna know why? Creator took him from us. It's not our loss, it's our gain that we knew his spirit as such. To know true care in a selfless act. To go into the middle of danger and react. He didn't know that the popo would come in and shoot him down. I said Johnny was a good man. Popo shot him down. Said Johnny was a good man. Saved the whole town. It was a mistake. It didn't really need to happen, but it had to. So now it's time to find a solution, so it will not happen to you. What you supposed to do when somebody come around and they act a fool? It's time to get prepared so you can save them too. I said, Johnny was a good man. Saved the whole town. Johnny was a good man. Popo shot him down. I hear you. Johnny was a good man. Helped a whole lot of people and I see him do it. Johnny was a good man. Let him into his house and his soul too. Anybody need him, he was there. He was a good cook. He was a good man. He was that kind of guy who would go into danger to help other people around. Johnny was a good man. Now everybody loves him. Got a frown. Come on, Johnny was a good man. Saved the whole town. Johnny was a good man. But the popo shut him down. Keep clapping. Johnny was a soldier, now he's a soldier of God. Took him from this planet.
I will say, the rolling tears, let them roll out, y'all. Let them feel, because you gotta feel it to heal it. And this is some real trauma that we all lost. Our brother Johnny Hurley here, and so we gotta feel this. We gotta gather and just express ourselves. Elias has got a really moving track, and Freedom Movement is on the track as well. I would really appreciate, I know it's super hot, but if we could move the energy in for at least this one song, if y'all could just gather with us super close. Right. And then up next, we're gonna have Law join us and do a poem, and then we got Totem and MCA gonna do a song as well, and then we'll have some speeches. But I'd really like to bring in your energy for this song So that way when we can take pictures, we can be power and unity right here to show the people and show the world that Johnny's not forgotten about, that he stood up and did the right thing that day, and that we're all here to celebrate Johnny's life, his heroics, his bravery, his courage, and that we walk in his ways and carry that bravery with us, that we live on with Johnny with us, and we take that courage that he had that day and be inspired to live on through that, whether it's speaking the truth or whether it's standing up for somebody who's getting beat up or whether it's having to shoot somebody if you have to protect Arvada and you got to do what you got to do. And so thank you so much for joining us in tight and in close. I feel your love, I feel your presence, I feel your energy. This means so much to us, and if you haven't yet, make sure to chalk something down as a message. And
check 1, 2.
It's the last play. These are humans, this is what it's all about, as we are stewards to the earth. We came here to serve.
My name is Johnny Hurley, and I would definitely say that there's a lot of holes in the official explanation. There's a lot of incongruencies there. What does anyone know about the truth? It all comes down to the truth and people's individual pursuit of the truth.
If you have the heart to listen, I'ma share with you a tale, a true story of a warrior, and how his love prevailed. For many years he set sail on a quest to seek the truth. He came back with an open mind, an open heart, and proof. And with a fire lit inside of him, he took boots to the ground to reach as many people as he could, to share what he had found. Not afraid to use his voice, he put his wisdom straight to use. He reached his brothers and his sisters, reached the elders and the youth. He spread his messages of love and resiliency in action. Every breath and every step he took was lit up by his passions. From a wellspring everlasting, every day he filled that cup, just to share it with the rest of us, the taste of truth and love. And now we pouring out for him, bringing us together. I feel his spirit on the wind, and I tell him, man, Johnny, you a legend, remembered as a hero, didn't hesitate a second. He was at the Army surplus on the 21st of June, 2021. Happened on a Monday afternoon. From the storm, Johnny heard shots fired in the air. Straight into the shots' direction, Johnny ran across the square, took cover behind the wall to get his bearings. Looked around, a couple feet from where he stood, he could see an officer down. He then got a view of the shooter, who was coming back around. Before he had a chance to fire again, our Johnny took him down. With only seconds to respond, Johnny on the spot, precise, uses training and discernment to protect innocent lives. He ran across to make sure that he had disengaged the threat. He went to take away his weapons. It was his instinct to protect. An officer already on the scene reacted out of fear. From his point of view, he'd seen the shooter walk into the square, and unaware of all the pieces, he just knew there was a threat. And though he waited all those moments and he hadn't acted yet, also his instinct to protect. But when he finally chose to act, with no warning or command, he shot out Johnny in the back. What happened after also matters, though they tried to sweep away. The force gathered and they realized they had made a grave mistake. You see, this story's about a hero and how his love prevailed through his actions, but the hero didn't live to tell the tale. So now it's up to us to seek the truth and keep his fire alive by asking, what's your passion? Put that into drive.
That's right.
And now we pouring out for him, bringing us together. I feel his spirit on the wind, and I tell him, man, Johnny, you a legend, remembered as a hero, didn't hesitate a second.
We celebrate your life. We celebrate you for your life. We celebrate you. Your memory lives on. Your legacy is strong. We honor you and promise to continue seeking truth and sovereignty. You know, the cold heart, the cold fact of this situation right here is that's the same type of situation that made Johnny crystal clear that there's a potential here to fear the many things that people don't understand. There's reflections and deceptions, there's conspiracies, and there's a problem with the police state. A problem with people not knowing that power can tend to corrupt. And the light side of the force, of course, enforce a message of love. And that is one love for the people when Johnny put down that man for you. There's patience and organizations and so much to do. And there's self-responsibility and there's the pursuance of truth. And there's strength to stand on principle when the hammer could fall. And there's a weight that's lifted off of your shoulders once and for all. And I've run a million what ifs and I've thought of what could have been. I try to put myself in your shoes, but there's no way that I can. I state for the record that Johnny was a hero and a friend. A stranger's life could depend on this man. Literally. So this goes out to the fallen, the yes y'all, and is only to show that your love lives on. We celebrate your legacy, you heard me? We know that some of the brightest stars that left this earth flame too early. We celebrate the man, the legend, Johnny Hurley.
Now we pouring out for him, bringing us together. I feel his spirit on the wind, and I tell him, man,
Johnny, you a legend.
remembered as a hero. He didn't hesitate a second.
Hey, that's love. That's revolution.
But that song came through a couple weeks after it happened, after an initial few weeks of shock. And I remember when the initial story came out, the way that it was painted in the media, it was like it all happened and the police were called and the police showed up and responded, and Johnny was the one with the gun, and so they shot him. So the first verse came through after that. It took about 6 months for the official police report to come out, and it was only then that friends and family found out police were working in the building right here.
Watching it on camera.
They watched Troiki come into the square, leave the square, come back into the square with another gun, hid inside that whole time, didn't do anything that whole time because they felt they weren't equipped. They were the police. Johnny had a t-shirt and sneakers, and he did not hesitate for a single second. The police were right here in this building the whole time. We have tried to get more reports. There is a camera right behind the building, the closest to his body, that they say was a dummy camera. It's a dummy camera that there's no information on, that they've removed, that they have no records of. So there is some things that still don't sit well in this with me, but I ultimately accept that Johnny was training to be a guardian and a warrior. He was the guardian of the day, and today we celebrate his life. And the third verse came through from AD almost a year after, really with the intention to celebrate.
It took some time. It took some time to marinate. But also celebration, you know, and we live in a death culture right now. We see it everywhere. We see it in hip hop. We see it all. That's all you see on the news and the media is fear, 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 divide, death, suffrage, and all that. And we try to bring light back to the people. And I'm inspired by the methods of New Orleans and how they have the processions to bring celebration back into death, because life is eternal. Energy cannot be created nor dissipated. It just moves on and changes form. We're trying to bring spirituality and the heart center back into this life as they try to make us all hedonists and narcissists and nihilists without any belief in anything in this world. But we know right here is love and the heartbeat. And that's the Nyabingi drum, and that's the drum that sets beat and precedence to all the music that we make. And so Elias allowed me on this track, and I sat with it in the pain, honestly, in the vitriol, things that we've been healing for generations and trying to make peace with. And that's how the freedom movement started, was trying to raise conversations and have a peaceful dialect in this time of keyboard warriors and people hating on each other and the Willie Lynch syndrome and divide and conquer. And that's, I was matching the energy. But then as I was sitting with the spirit of Johnny, that's what makes somebody protect life, is the value for life, the love for people. I have a child, I have 2 children. The love for your children is, to me, the closest thing to unconditional love. But then to see this human that has the same love, we all taught that game. I wrote one love on the cement right here. But do we practice it on the daily? As Burns said, when push comes to shove, when the temperature gets risen, when you squeeze the fruit, you get the juice that's in the fruit. And that's what we saw when things got tight and heavy. That was an act of love. And we were talking with Bruce B. We know they were trying to shit on all the personal people holding weapons and things like that, because of course we for peace. It's a message of peace. Peace, wealth, health, and prosperity. But we live in a world of barbarism where there's still domination. We have free will, and we've tried to protect that in this country with laws that protect the sovereignty of the people to be and to disagree and have all the difference that we have, but try to minimize the violence and the vitriol between each other. But that's the end-all regulator. When people call the state, that's what they're calling is force out to regulate, because we can't do it as a people. And there's a lot of courage in this world, absolutely. But what differentiates a hero is that he made the right decisions on that day. At the end of the day, when the receipts came back, the hero is the one that did everything right, that stood for love and truth and principle, but came back with the receipts. And there's no bigger receipt than what we see with Johnny Hurley. And that's why the celebration comes back. We celebrate, this is a procession 2 years later. We shed tears, but I have so much more joy and laughter in my heart. That's where my verse came from, Elias. The Heart Center.
And we're going to keep this story alive. It's important that we keep this story alive. It's 2 years later, and the court case isn't until October 6th, so it's important that we support the family and Friends of Johnny Hurley Foundation as much as we can and continue to get the story shared and bring attention to it so that better training for police and something can happen and that our hero didn't die in vain.
Yeah, and that the cops stop playing judge, jury, and executioner. I think that's the root cause here, is that some people wear badges and then think they have different granted rights and get to play judge, jury, executioner. And you know, if you get the death penalty, you at least get an appeal in our system we live in, and there's no appeal for Johnny Hurley that day. And so it's a sad day to miss him, but I'm so thankful some of our artist friends who knew Johnny so dearly. Johnny had a track that he made with Elias Clay. You can find it online. Look up Johnny Verbal. And him and Elias, good friends, him and AD as well, great friends for over a decade. So we give thanks to Elias Clay and Freedom Movement for performing that track right here. I kind of want to do this little sway right here in between songs and poetry and stories.
And we're gonna have a potluck for friends and family after this nearby. If you need the address, talk to me or Bruce.
Yep. And I actually, so speaking of like going between music and poetry and stories, I actually once saw Johnny at Evolve Expo sharing some of his Wagyu beef, and he turned a vegan out and a vegan ate meat in front of me, thanks to Johnny Hurley. Like, wow, I had never seen that. It blew my mind. And he was like he was a purveyor of wisdom, and he was talking the talk about how good this meat was, that a vegan ate his Wagyu beef. I'll never forget that. And so in his name, we're gonna have a potluck with some grass-fed, really amazing farm-to-table burgers that I got, and it's not gonna be far away, like 5 minutes down the road. So come talk to myself or Elias. We'd really like to have just a community gathering and get together and talk about Johnny and hold his light and play some music and just enjoy the vibes that Johnny brought to us together, because he made such a big impact. Make some noise if Johnny Hurley made an impact on your life, y'all. Yes, we can feel that love, we can feel that potency. I give thanks to all the different media outlets and all the different people that are purveying. You are the media yourself, you're the media. But thank you to all the media outlets who are covering Johnny's story today, and to all of you for covering the story on your own social media, Instagrams, TikToks, Snapchats, all the things. Make sure to cover and just share this story, because there's a lot of people that have been affected by this story, and there's a lot of inspiration there to be the change. And that's one thing that Johnny really, when I met Johnny, he was helping organize the We Are Change Colorado meetings back in 2011. He had 50 people that were gathering every week, and Johnny was one of the main facilitators, but it was no leader. It was just that Johnny was so charismatic, he had to just help organize and facilitate. And so I want to bring up one of the other leaders back in the day of We Are Change Colorado, a super huge
Johnny,
force.
a long time ago, we used to do the hardcore street actions news. We try to wake people up, tell them what the heck they're not getting on the news. And it was dangerous work, you know, so Johnny proved his soul and his spirit back then in those days, boy, by standing on that line and not shrinking, not giving a foot. And he inspired me and changed my life. So this tragedy has touched us so deeply. Those are the important things in our lives, things we can never let go of. And we got to honor them, we got to hold them close, we got to feel it, got to feel the whole thing. It's okay. So I wrote a poem a couple weeks after this happened. I'll try and do it justice. You bear with me. Forward into danger, to do what must be done. No thought of self, but others. As he stepped into the sun, across the street and courtyard, for the good of everyone. With honor and courage, he pushed his legs to run. An officer lay dying. He was lured here to his death, and Johnny took position as he gave his final breath. Beyond the wall he stood against, the killer was still there. No time for hesitation. There were people everywhere. So Johnny got the drop on him and ended the killer's game. Terribly, tragically, an officer thought he did the same. It was long before a hero, as all the people say. So he became a legend that sad and fateful day. We will always give him honor in the tales that we will tell of his courage and his spirit at the place where Johnny fell.
With eyes closed, we'll remember his name, Johnny Hurley. Forever in our hearts he'll remain. In the face of danger, he stood strong and bold, guardian angel. A story to be told in Old Town Arvada. Tragedy struck the air, but Johnny's courage shone. Showing that he cared, he faced the violence with bravery untold. In the hearts of many, his memory unfold. With eyes closed, we'll remember his name, Johnny Hurley. Forever in our hearts he'll remain. In the face of danger, he stood strong and bold, guardian angel. A story to be told, though he's no longer here, his spirit lives on. In the acts of kindness, his legacy's drawn. He touched so many lives with love and grace. In our hearts, his light will forever embrace. With eyes closed, we'll remember his name, Johnny Hurley. Forever in our hearts he'll remain. In the face of danger, he stood strong and bold, guardian angel. A story to be told, so let us honor his memory, love and respect. Johnny Hurley, our hero, we will never forget. With eyes closed, we'll keep his spirit alive. In our hearts, his courage will forever thrive.
that way. And I was like, Joel, I know you've been a friend to Johnny since Colorado Springs days and like multiple decades and skateboarding and all the different, pastimes that Johnny lived up, and really, the activism that Johnny, had going on for him for so many years, and Joel was aligned with him.
But you also have a moral. There's a moral to this story. We live in a day and age where what Johnny did with a little bit of gumption and some weekend training outdid 21 cops in Uvalde. Johnny stopped a shooter with an AR-15 armed only with a handgun and no vests. In Colorado Springs recently, there was a murder-suicide on South Nevada by the Taco Bell. One of the gentlemen was kidnapped, and he texted his girlfriend with a picture of the guy sitting there with a gun, and he said, call 911. And she called 911. And you want to know what the cops in Colorado Springs Police Department did? Well, they might not have shot him from behind, but they didn't do anything until he was dead. They didn't respond to the 911 call. We live in a day and age where they will tell you that we need to ban semi-automatic weapons. The gun that Johnny used, the gun that almost everybody has in their home, is a semi-automatic weapon. We live in a day and age where the cops have no duty to serve or protect you. They serve and protect statute law. It is up to you to protect yourself in the best way that you see fit. And everybody, every minority, every gay person, every trans person has a right to self-defense. Nobody ever has the right to take a life for no reason, but everybody has the right to take a life in the self-defense of their life and the lives of others. And do not let your government tell you otherwise. Because if there is one legacy Johnny would want to have continue on out of this tragedy, is that leaving your hands leaving your fate, leaving your lives in the hands of cops often leaves them cowering at the back door trying to figure out what to do. And then they'll take a shot when they take it, even though they know darn well Johnny wasn't the big guy in the black shorts and a black shirt and the black boots and the ranger hat. The guy that shot Beardsley, the guy they knew that shot Beardsley, they had no information saying that Johnny was a hostile, and they still treated him as a hostile. And because of that, a great man, a great hero lost his life. So I beg everybody to know that you can't leave your lives in their hands. Do what you can do to take your lives into your hands. And that's what Johnny would want.
From Corey to helping me put flyers out, Elias who made the flyers, Lindsay who provided the PA system, Bernt and Bruce who are amazing MCs and always pull every event together, Turtle for saving the day and bringing the generator when we realized that we didn't have power. It really takes a village to keep, and a community to keep Johnny alive. We will be here every year on the 21st in the square to celebrate his life and his heroism from that day. I really appreciate the turnout, the love, the community. Love you, Johnny Hurley. He was my big brother, and he's always been my hero.
That's the Johnny Hurley, one and only right there. You all are making a difference by showing up today, by using your voice to tell Johnny's story. So thank you so much for coming out. We're gonna have a couple closing statements from Burnt MD, who helped.
Learning more about what happened to him. There was some instances where we would mention his name and the lights went out. Or, and that happened a couple of times. And the room we were in, the person had been working in there for 10 years. She said it had never happened before. And Ellie just shared that Johnny's in the wind and the bells. And out of nowhere, what just happened? The bells rang. That didn't work. All right, let's try this. We're gonna go, I'm from Brooklyn, we're gonna go a little ghetto style. Oh, I'll go on.
Hey, what's up, guys? Johnny from We Are Change, Colorado. Hey, just want to let you know that even you can make a difference. Don't be fearful.
Don't be fooled by the immensity of the situations today. You are making a difference by standing up and using your voice. These words live.
What's up, guys? Johnny from Colorado. Hey, just want to let you know that even you can make a difference. Don't be fooled by the immensity of the issues that we face today. You are making a difference by standing up and using your voice.
Thank you, Johnny Hurley. Thank you, Ellie, for your words, and everybody who came up here. Totem, or you coming up? Bruce, here you go.
Thank you, Burnt MD. Thanks for stepping up. Burnt changed his plans and made sure to get out here. So make some noise for Burnt MD for being here today. Thank you, Burnt. Hey guys, I'd like to just shine some light to a beautiful creator of this world. She helped create Johnny Hurley. Kathleen, everybody, make some noise for Johnny's mom. Thanks for coming out, Kathleen. We appreciate you rocking with us and going with the flow here. And thanks for coming out once again. Thank you.
People on TV feed you an IV, the way I'm meant to see. I've done the math 1,000 times. There ain't no way out of here unless you hold my hand and leave. Over the edge, leaving so I can't believe we can't get our shit straight. Are we really gonna let these motherfuckers get away with this? Are we really gonna let another moment slip away? Oh, 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 Are you really gonna let these motherfuckers get away with this? Are we really gonna let another moment slip away? Love you so much, Johnny.
Just over 1 year ago, Old Town Arvada was rocked by gun violence. A gunman shot and killed Arvada police officer Gordon Beasley. During the chaos, a Good Samaritan named John Hurley shot the suspect, only to be killed by an officer who mistook Hurley for the shooter. Now his mom is filing a lawsuit claiming excessive force and spoke with Denver 7's Colette Bordelon.
It's been a year since the day.
Time goes by.
When Kathleen Boleyn lost her boy.
If you're having fun with Johnny, there's nobody else you'd rather be with.
Johnny Hurley was remembered in Old Town Arvada on Tuesday with a moment of silence marking the 1 year since he was killed by Arvada officer Craig Brownlow.
He did not have a chance to show that he was the Good Samaritan.
Hurley is the man seen here, shooting at Ronald Troike, who had just killed an Arvada police officer moments before.
It's not what they did, it's what they didn't do.
Officer Brownlow believed Hurley was the threat and shot him.
Given an announcement on that day, Johnny Hurley would have dropped the weapon, and we would have been absolutely celebrating Johnny Hurley's heroic acts rather than mourning them.
Arvada police say their policy is if giving a command places the others or the officer in danger, then commands don't have to be given. Hurley's mom has filed a civil rights lawsuit against Officer Brownlow and the chief of the Arvada Police Department, which claims her son's death was not the result of a judgment call gone wrong, but the result of an unlawful use of deadly force. The First Judicial District ruled Officer Brownlow's actions were justified. The officer has since resigned from the department in good standing.
My job is to decide whether this violated the civil rights that are afforded to these individuals. And in my view, yes, this conduct did violate the law.
These two want to see policies changed in the Arvada Police Department, specifically when it comes to giving commands.
It's not enough to just say that their job is difficult and to give them free rein to shoot Good Samaritans who are there. As we know in the state, the number of concealed carry licenses is skyrocketing.
In a statement, Arvada police say they're not considering changes to their protocols. The department also says the lawsuit mischaracterizes and omits information, saying it has the potential to compromise officer safety. But Boleyn wants to see what she considers accountability for a reality she can't wrap her head around.
There's a level of sadness that lives in me that's a little closer to the surface than it used to be.
Searching for what she considers justice, while saying what she wishes her son could hear.
Come back to me.
Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
What's up, y'all? So, thanks for still being here. Like, share, subscribe. Yeah, so we're here to share his story. You heard it from his friends. He's a very special person, so we hope someday to bring that to the screen. But for now, thank you for watching, and there'll be way more coming up next, the Psychedelic Conference. One love.